Boom. Welcome everyone, Monday Talk time. So good to be before you all. Hope you have an awesome drink. Mine is Yerba Mate from Argentina. I just need to do one thing. Argentina, Argentina, campeones del mundo, somos nosotros. I don't even know, that's a song, I just made it up. I need to trademark it. But congratulations to the Argentinian team, Copa America, muchas gracias. This photo here was sent to me by Gus, and yes, represent. But that's enough. We're gonna keep this very neutral so that no one gets upset with us. So we're gonna keep this nice and neutral. I've been planning that all morning, you know, but anyway, it was a good effort from the boys. Congratulations to them. Now, let me kick off. Boom, let's get going. There's a gentleman by the name of Neil. He's from Perth. He's going to be coming across. He reached out to me, and he's going to be at the Oillataguerre store on the 27th of July. Now, I want to put a call out to Melbourneites or anyone else who would like to join us. 11 a.m., 27th of July. I will be, I'm going over to meet young Neil. Excuse me. I'm going to go to meet Neil. And if you guys would like to join us and for me, it's the chance to put a face to a name. Neil's been a member of the channel for quite some time now. And yeah, so if you guys are around, love to see you guys there. I'm getting married. Getting so close to my 100K. My beautiful bride, 100K subs, she's getting herself ready. I think she's already bought the dress. So we are very close, and I dare say in the next maybe 2 or 3 weeks, let's say 5 weeks. In the next 5 weeks, I'll be officially married and looking forward to this. Well, then we'll go on our honeymoon, we'll do all that, you know, all that sort of stuff. But for those who are part of this experience with me, there is a promo. You have a chance to win the beautiful gift set from Spirit of Kings, worth 120 euros. So it's an incredible gift. I've got it with me, but I've put it behind me. I'm not going to reach for it. You've seen what it is. Here's the image of it. It's glorious. A lot of people have written in last week saying how beautiful these fragrances are, and I have to agree completely. So anywhere around the world, all you have to do to win this prize is make sure you watch this particular episode, name one of the brands that we actually referenced in that video, and then put this blue dot. This will help me find you quickly. Make sure that you are a subscriber. I am looking for this red YouTube dot. Now, you guys don't see it from your end. From my end in the YouTube studio, it signifies that you are a subscriber to the channel. This is a promotion for subscribers, essentially. And it's also so we're building to the 100K marriage that I'm going to be doing. Anyway, keep going. So you have a chance to win that. The next thing I'll announce the winner of that in episode 122. Can you see I'm on a roll here because I want to get to the good stuff. I'm covered in perfume and I smell divine. I announced last week that we have opened up the Xerjoff Tour 2025. So Kevin and I will be hosting you guys in person. Now, if you'd like to know what the tour includes, jump on the website, you'll see all the breakdown, but it's about you guys being VIPs. That's the key of it. And this is something that Kevin and I have been working on to make sure that on that day, it's VIP treatment all the way. So when we first meet each other around 9:30 to line up to get into Xerjoff, normally Xerjoff starts or opens its doors at around 10, 10:15. So we want to be there at 9:30, already in line. While we're in line, we already will be experiencing new fragrances. So we'll hand out goodie bags, essentially, the discovery sets. Each one of these are personalized because you, prior to that moment, would have chosen your L'Absolu 120 ml bottle. I'll tell you more about that in the coming weeks, but already your bag is your bag because it'll have your personal bottle in there, plus a set of discovery sets. Now, while we're waiting, and we're anticipating that it's going to take about 45 minutes to an hour to get into the actual venue itself, we will already be going through some fragrances, doing some discovery sessions with you guys. So whilst others are looking around going, what is going on here? How can I be a part of this? All you have to be thinking is VIP. Only VIPs will be part of this experience. Part of this too is the chance to, well, it'll be a full day experience. You'll have lunch and dinner with us. Dinner will be, lunch and dinner will be in the Brera area. This is a part of Milan that I absolutely adore. Food in this location is spectacular. It does include all transfers. So for those who know geographically where the Xerjoff Convention Center is and where Brera is there's a bit of a distance, but that's all part of the price. So we'll move you guys around. We'll make sure that because to eat near the convention center, we don't want to do that. So we're going to eat nice food. We're going to enjoy each other's company. Now, one of the pinnacles of this day is the chance to be with Fragrance du Bois. So the Fragrance du Bois also present at Esxence, but they are not in the actual convention center. They want to create a much more personable experience, something that's a little bit more sophisticated, essentially. Once you get to, for those who've been to Esxence or for those who will go into Esxence, you'll realize that it's you get overstimulated with your senses, smell, sight, hearing. It's just a lot of noise. Whereas with the Fragrance du Bois, we will be in their private suite in a luxury hotel that they book out. They do this every year. I've actually been to this suite before. It's a much more pleasurable experience. You get a chance to actually smell the fragrances, be able to understand the different notes, the nuances. Whereas in Esxence, you're just smelling a perfume as opposed to being in a much more personal space. So that's all part of the experience. So if you'd like to join, now the good news is this, well, good news for us, is that we've already had a number of bookings come through. We will only limit this to 20. So if you are keen to do it, we won't add any extras, all right? So we're not gonna do we sold out 20 and we're thinking, you know what, let's do a bit more. We've done a number of meetups at the Oillataguerre store and we've discovered that 20 is our sweet spot when it comes to being able to be with people, enjoy each other's company. The group that's there it's personable, and that's what we're after. Kevin and I want it to be a VIP experience for you guys, so 20 will be our limit, all right? Jump on our website. If you want to know more about that, send me an email, send me a DM, asking me any questions in regards to that. I'll answer that straight away, but we have already sold a number of seats, so just to give you a heads up on that. Boom. All right, boom, done. All right, had 8 minutes, not too bad. Actually, no, less than that because I did my little intro with the jumper and all the rest of it. Let's talk about Xerjoff. I think it's fair to say that Xerjoff is one of those brands that I totally and absolutely, unequivocally love, just love. I just really enjoy everything that they do. And I try to be as objective, I promise, hand on my heart, I try to be as objective as possible. And even sometimes I come to with a fragrance, like a new one if they've done a release, and I'm thinking to myself, I need to hate this, all right? So I need to really not like this fragrance. Because how is it that I could love everything that they have? You know, it just seems almost, well, even to my own brain says, brother, at some stage you have to say, this one is not for me. So far, is there any that's not for me? I'll have to think about that. The truth is, the collection is vast, and every time I explore something new from this house, I just can't help myself. Actually, there is one that I have a hard time with, and I will tell you, it's this one here. I can never pronounce it. I tested that years ago, and I think the powdery iris was really it was too soft, way too soft. But I need to re-explore this. Here's another thing. People ask me, can you give me your fragrances that you hate? I'll never do this. I will never, ever do this. And the reason for that is, one, I think it's this is how I see it in my own head, okay? So this is for me only. Everybody, you do you. This is how I do things in my life. Creativity is hard, and criticism is easy. So for me to go up, no good, blah, blah, that's super easy. But for me to actually recreate or even do something that is comparable or similar to that, that's hard work, baby. So, and that's part one. So how can I criticize something that I can't even do myself, all right? So I can't I can say that I don't like it for me, which is cool. Like I said, this one here I have a hard time with, but I need to revisit this one here because I know there's a lot of love for this particular fragrance. The second part to it is, I change, and we all do. Where today I might go, I love this, give me 5 years, and I'm like, it's okay, it's not too bad, because my taste has evolved. Whereas 5 years ago I could say, no, that's not for me. And then all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, I cannot get enough of this. So this is why I don't do the I don't likes and all that sort of stuff. I prefer to focus on things that I really enjoy and put it on your radar, and then you guys test it out. That's the third part of the equation. You guys test, because what I might love might not necessarily resonate with you personally. All right, how am I doing? Okay, let me get cracking, because I want to get into it. But I also want to answer a number of questions that have been raised to me. You know, can you do this? And why don't you do that? And so I want to address that. Now, last time around in episode 118, sorry, one more thing. The last question that I get a lot of is, can you give me your top 5 when it comes to Xerjoff? The short answer to that is no, I cannot. And that is like saying, can you line up each one of your children and your grandchildren and rate them? Which one is your favorite in that collection? I like that. Who's your favorite? I can't do that. I love them all. And I love them all for their own particular nuance, or not nuance, but their own personalities and how I enjoy my time with them. So the same happens with these fragrances. The fragrances, it sounds like ridiculous, but perfume is life. And for me, perfume is about a pleasure, it's olfactory, it's about memory, it's about experiencing, it's enhancing an experience. I'll tell you about one that when I smell, it takes me to a location. Last time around I mentioned about Torino 21. I smell that and I can see myself, my wife Sandra, we're on a scooter, we're in Milan, it's sunny. I mean, it's just like, it's like an explosion of visuals that happen just when that first spray happens. So perfume is more than just a beautiful smell. Yes, it is that, but there's a lot more things that are happening around that. So how can I just say, this is my only 5? No. So I'll put a number of fragrances that I enjoy, the reasons why. You go out, explore for yourself, and you discover your top 5, the ones that you love the best. Boom, small drink. Okay, let me begin. So last time around, episode 118 of Maté Talk, I mentioned about if you're a new recruit, if you're brand new, and mind you, even if you're a veteran, you can still get these. These are the ones that I really, really enjoy. But I want to be mindful of those people who want to come into Xerjoff. They're not, I mean, you know, it's a luxury fragrance brand, so it does cost money, obviously. So I want to make sure that you're putting your money against something that that you're going to love. The new recruit, that lineup is instant love. You'll spray and you're like, oh my gosh, you know, tears will form in your eye because they're just so beautiful. This next one here, this next 7 that I have are for semi-pros. And the reason why, actually, I'll tell you why they're semi-pros. And also what I've done is I've basically said, if I've picked up where that last episode ended. So you're now migrated all the way through to new recruit. You've just stepped into semi-pro. So I'm going to give you the first one in that close to semi-pro new recruit sort of space. The science of this is incredible. The first one is ERBA Gold. Now this is a newer inclusion into the collection that I have. I tested this quite extensively before I bought it. I do have ERBA Pura, ERBA Pura. So ERBA Pura will be coming up. So I still don't recommend anybody who is new to Xerjoff, don't start with ERBA Pura just yet. If you want to get into that ERBA sort of category with some fruits and all the rest of it, I'd recommend to you ERBA Gold. And the reason for that is the musk has been really sort of pulled back. That musk that white musk that's in ERBA Pura can sometimes be very heady, and so I think sometimes what happens is that people overspray that fragrance. Whereas this is a great place to begin to understand the balance of the fruits with the musk and the amber and everything else. I find that this is a monster. And I also find that when you're new to niche perfumery, you want bang for your buck. And that's the sort of logic that you have at the start. You want it to be a room filler. You want it to have massive projection. You want it to last on your skin forever. You want it to have a sillage that just goes for miles. Well, this is ERBA Gold. All of those components are here, and then there's this beautiful, incredible fragrance. It has, the notes that are listed on the Xerjoff website is an apple, a melon, and a pear. One thing that comes out, and it could be Inception because of the color of the bottle, very clearly, very cleanly, is mango. It has this sublime mango, and mixed in with that amber and musk, it almost is creamy on skin. This thing is incredible. So my son's girlfriend lives with us. Now, she loves this fragrance, and I'll tell you how the power and potency of this fragrance. So I leave my house at about 7:30. She then leaves, she obviously gets ready and leaves around 9 o'clock. I then come back to the house, so I leave at 7:30, come straight to the office. I'm just in my gym, blah, blah gear. I go back home to have to do a bit of exercise, blah, blah, blah. And it's around 11 o'clock. Now, it's been about 2 hours, I'm gonna say. She needs to be at work at 9, so she probably had left by 8. So about 2 or 3 hours, the house, when she wears ERBA Gold, the house is still present with this smell. It is in every part of the room. She says that when she goes to her office, that the colleagues are all like, oh my gosh, you smell divine. So this is an awesome fragrance that just has all those components of presence and projection and longevity, all that sort of stuff. Recently, my nephew, who's just come into niche perfumery, he's hasn't been a big perfume lover, and anyway, he said to me, recommend something good for me. I showed him this. He could not stop smelling his arm. Every time he'd be like, oh, wow, 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 wow. So this fragrance here, easy on a man, very easy on a woman. It's a fragrance that can be comfortably unisex. The other beauty about it is that it works perfectly as a cool weather fragrance. At the moment, weather here has been horrible in Melbourne. Again, we're in winter. And this is a beast. But I wear this in summer, and it is a beast. It's glorious. So a lot of people talk about God of Fire. Yes, very beautiful fragrance. But if I had a choice, this would be, if I wanted to get that mango sort of vibe, ERBA Gold would be my pick. Beep, bop, boop. If I covered everything, yes. So again, for those new recruits coming into semi-pros, this is an awesome fragrance. Just ticks all the boxes when it comes to potency, power, and beauty of fragrance. All right, next one. Next one. We're now moving deeper into a semi-pro, and I don't recommend this for those, if you're a new recruit, I wouldn't start here. I'd go backwards to look at the other video, because this is now getting a little bit more on the complex side. And interestingly, I have shown this to a number of people. There are some people that are like, oh, it's not for me. And when I hear the not for me, then I start to sort of inquire, and I realize that they're still very early in their journey. This is Starlight, and this is heavenly. The words that I wrote here is, it's a subtle love, it's sublime, it's caressing, it's seductive, and then I put heavenly. I've said it a million times. If I could say that if an angel were to appear to me, what would it smell like? It would smell of Starlight. It has the most sublime, just gentle, caressing scent profile to it. Interestingly, it does have a number of notes such as cardamom. Cardamom, if it's very green, very sort of aromatic, I have a hard time with it. Here, it's done in a creamy fashion. You do get that cardamom touch, but there is an ambery touch to it also. For me, there's a vanilla sort of thread that runs through it. There is things like cinnamon, and the other beauty of this fragrance is the evolution, where it starts, how it opens, where it moves, just the whole thing, but the whole thing is about sublime love. It's just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous all the way through. It's an intimate, yep. Okay, so the one thing about, hang on, let me just smell it. So I remember when I sprayed this, because I've sprayed everything here. I wanted to remind myself of the opening, but I also want to go and talk about the dry down. On that opening, it was involuntary. I sprayed it and I just went, oh, yes, yes. It has this seductive, alluring scent to it. It really is like a lure. It's such a gorgeous opening to the fragrance. On its dry down where it is now, I do get a very milky, sort of component to it. It could be like an almond, so there's not lactose in anywhere, there's no milk element to it, but there is a creaminess that's in there. Early on, and I have noticed that lately Xerjoff hasn't put this, but early on it used to say a milky amber. That's how they defined the amber note that was there. It was a milky amber. Could be that there's an almond in there, but it's not amaretti style. It's the creaminess of that milky component of it. Cardamom is there, the cinnamon spices. It is really sublime. It doesn't in any way smell like, some people compare it, some people say that it does a little bit, some people compare it to like a chai latte, kind of, I guess. But yeah, it's more, for me, see, to say chai latte, it's sort of like it categorizes it, it puts it in a box. I feel like this has a lot more components and elements to it. I'm almost gonna say it has some woody elements to it, but I don't remember whether it has woods. I'll put it here. Anyway, the spices, that cardamom, that milky, the amber, the vanilla, boom, baby. It's absolutely, okay, pure magic. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous fragrance, which I strongly recommend. If you don't have it as a semi-pro, I majorly recommend it to you. And that is proper English right there. Majorly recommend it. All right, let me move on. Allora. So I mentioned to you olfactory memory. Perfume for me is about snapshots. Perfume, and this is true, this is not just me. I mean, perfume can bring back people to you. I know that certain smells bring back my mother's perfume. Certain smells take me to locations. And one of those locations is this one here. So this is P33. Now, I mentioned to you before that when in 2022 we were in Milan for Esxence, we went to there was a Xerjoff party we were invited to. Torino 21 had just been released, or not long before, and that fragrance just brings me back to that moment in time. You know, the newness of everything. Everything was brand new to me. The channel was very fresh. I mean, the channel's only 3.5 years old, so it's not like we've been doing this for years. But at that stage, it was like a year old, and I was just like, oh my gosh, look at all the things we're doing. So it takes me back to that moment in time that everything was new and exciting. This one here takes me to 2023, to last year. P33 had just launched. I remember there was a beautiful display on the counter. We were invited to the Xerjoff party, and when I smell this, it brings me into this location. And actually it brings me into this location and it brings me to this photo. So in my enthusiasm, I asked, and I'm always very shy to ask people that I admire if I can take a photo with them, only because I guess I never want to hear the no, and I never want that person to sort of roll their eyes, because then that would shatter my, because I love them, respect them, and love what they do, and so for them to go, get out of here, it's just like, oh. And so I saw Sergio was there on the first time that I went to that party, but I was reluctant to say anything to him. But on this one here, I'm like, come on, man, just ask for a photo. I'm sure it's not a big deal. Very gracious, of course. Sandra knew that this was a big deal, and she wanted to create this beautiful artistic photo. In the end, it was this beautiful bouquet of flowers. We always joke about this. So I'm hopefully going to get another chance with the great Sergio Momo, and this time around we'll make sure that there's no flowers around so that we can just focus on the two of us. But anyway, P33 takes me to that moment in time. Now, for semi-pros, why would you want this? For me, P33, and this is, as you can see, this is now, we're moving deeper into semi-pros. I don't recommend that a new recruit even spray it and enjoy it, but I wouldn't recommend that you buy it. And that's because the complexity here is phenomenal, and I feel that it will be lost a little bit on a new recruit. Meaning that where it begins, how it dries into or dries down to, and then finally its final dry down are all different places. And I think someone who is now really appreciating the art of niche perfumery will be able to see these different ways and the way the fragrance evolves. I've got it here, let me just check. I've got it here. All right, so when it opens, it has the most, captures, out of all the fragrances, it captures you the fastest. Citrus, aromatic, with this little aromatic touch to it. There's a sweetness in that citrus. It's just incredibly inviting. The beauty of it, 30 minutes later, and I time it, spray, time it, smell again, it's changed. That early vibrancy of those citrus notes comes right down. So I think in that opening, there is, not I think, I know, is an apple. So it's bergamot grapefruit, but it has this apple, and I think that apple gives it this crispy, juicy, just fruity opening mixed in with those citruses. I tell you, you are seduced instantly. But what I love about the fragrance is that it doesn't stay in that place. It draws you in, and then it begins to move away from that. Where it then moves into is more of a cedar, cypress style fragrance. We have there's a beautiful park not far from here, and there's a number of cedar and cypress trees, and I love picking their leaf. So I grab the leaf and I crush it. I crush the fern-like look, and I love the natural scent of this tree is a mixture of woody, aromatic, spicy, and a citrus. And that's what happens here. You get this mixture of a spicy component. There are woody elements to it, very aromatic. There is a touch of that citrus still lingering in there. And that's where I am right now. When it finally dries down, it does have a slight green powderiness. There is iris, and it's actually on the website. I'm pretty certain it specifies that it's from Florence. It's a Florentine iris, I think. I'll put it here. And then it dries down into these amber, a slight vanilla from Red Marie. The whole thing is super complex. The whole thing has this beautiful wave and evolution. Now, the one thing that I've heard people sort of lament is that it's not a room filler, and it's true. Unlike an ERBA Gold, where it'll just go everywhere, this fragrance here is a lot more, it's moderate to low, which is a good thing. So now as you're moving through your collection, if you want to expand, you don't want every fragrance that you have to be these massive room fillers. Sometimes you want something that's a bit more subtle, a bit more sublime, something that's a bit more mysterious. This is the fragrance. This fragrance here, from where it begins, so as a date night fragrance, would be spectacular. Man or woman could comfortably wear this. This will create this mystery about you. As I begin to sweat, the fragrance re-emerges and continues to push through. So you're getting this citrus, woody, aromatic component to it. That, like I said, there is an iris there. Some people say that they're really detecting the iris. I don't detect it as heavily as others. For me, that cedar-like quality really plays a massive part with this particular fragrance. The other thing that I love about this, and again now as a collector, a bit of a nerd, the actual bottles are handmade in Florence. There is a stamp on the back of this that says that there is a batch, so not a batch, there's 4,000 of these that were made. And so it's a collector's piece. Will they do more after 4,000? I don't know. But for me, as a collector nerd, I love this sort of stuff. So anyway, as a fragrance on its own, amazing. The whole package, the fact that it has this limited number on it, all spectacular. I'm gonna stop. This thing's about to pop in a second. And back. All right, so olfactory memory. One of the things that I want to point this out, one of the things that I love, so I'm a collector. If you come to my office, you'll see a million things, and I'm talking a million things of different collections. And one thing that I love, so I'm going to share a bit more, is I love pens. I'm into pens. And so I have a pretty good collection of different pens that I like using. And so this is a fountain pen. This is one I bought in Rome. And I love its nib. All right, so that one there. Recently I bought this one here, which is a beautiful German one. And again, this fountain pen, there's something elegant about a beautiful, the weight on this one here, I'll put it here what the brand is. I can never pronounce it right. Anyway, I'll put it here, boom. The weight of this is gorgeous, but this fountain pen, all right. So one thing that, and I'll grab this baby here, that I really believe, it was shared to me by the great Michael Marzano. So I've always been intrigued about this very unique cap. One, apart from the fact that it's incredibly designed, I mean, very clever, because on first sight, you know clearly what the brand is, but what does it mean? What does it mean? And Michael said that it's actually a fountain pen nib, so similar to a fountain pen. I don't know if you can see that, actually, I'll put a big image here. And it's about riding your olfactory memories. So the fragrance is designed to create these olfactory memories for you. So whether that's the actual reality of it or not, I don't know. And truthfully, I'm gonna say I don't care, because I love that explanation. Because for me, that when he said that, and I've researched many, many different things, and there's a whole bunch of different sort of theories on what it could be. When he told me that, that's the one. For me, that stuck. All right. And again, if I took P33 and Torino 21 and all that sort of stuff, it's like, paf, I get transported to these locations. DECAS. This is underrated, a hidden gem. Please go out and look for this. Semi-pros only, and I'll tell you why in a second. The part of the 1861 collection, Naxos gets all the love. Renaissance is the next one. Zafiro I'm going to talk about, but Zafiro is deeper in now, as I think I put it down as a veteran. So DECAS. Now, when I started sort of going, you know what, I'm doubling down on all things niche perfumery. I want to explore this in much greater detail. There is the Michael Edwards fragrance wheel. And I came to the conclusion that, hang on a second, I always love to live in a particular area. And I think we all do this too. I mean, if you look at the Michael Edwards fragrance wheel, you can jump on their website, you can put in, match my fragrance, and you'll begin to see that you align yourself to a particular category, dry woods or florals or ambers. And I made the decision, and I realized that I'm a dry woods, I used to be. I'm dry woods and dry woods, mossy woods. That's where I love, that's where my collection used to be. And also in the amber, the woody ambers and stuff like that. And the left side of the wheel, it was completely vacant. I'm like, well, that's a bit lame. I mean, I want to explore the whole wheel. I want to be in florals, and I want to be in soft ambers and all that sort of stuff. So truthfully, I don't know where this baby lands, but what I do know is that it has a tuberose note. And tuberose, for me, has been so deeply aligned to femininity that sort of reel back, say, I don't know, 3 years ago, the thought of putting on a fragrance that has a very distinct tuberose note, I'd be like, what are you talking about? It'd be like, you're talking voodoo to me. You're talking, it's black magic. There's no way I would be able to do that, because it's just too feminine. I mean, there are some great stories when it comes to the tuberose note. It's regarded as a carnal flower. And if you look at the tuberose, when you sort of just smell it in nature, it has a beautiful balance between being very almost voluptuous and very heady. So it's almost like jasmine on these white florals, but on overdose. It's like, so it's very full and very just sumptuous in its scent profile. But it has this incredible animalic component to it. There's this not leathery and not like an oud sort of touch to it, but there is something wrong and something overtly sexual. There's something erotic in that. And smell it in nature. I'm not making this stuff up. And I'll go one more. Early on, I'd read a number of reports that in Victorian England, the young women who were not married, were not allowed to go out at night, because that's when the tuberose blooms, or not blooms, its scent profile is the strongest. And they weren't allowed to go out at night because it would create impure thoughts in these young women. Bada bing. So it's known for, one more, Frederick Malle, there's a fragrance that he came out called Carnal Flower, and it's all about the explosion of tuberose. Actually, another one came to my mind, Narcotic V. For those who are familiar with Narcotic V, that is tuberose. That is the most just erotic tuberose, just so beautifully glorious. It's just intense. Anyway, so all that, for me, it's so wrapped up in femininity and feminine power and feminine, just embodies, the tuberose is such a beautiful, beautiful fragrance on a woman. And I think, connected one more, is that Sandra, my wife, has always been a tuberose lover. A lot of her fragrances are tuberose centric. And so all of a sudden I'm putting on a tuberose fragrance and I'm like, man, this does not stick on me. All right, so for those men, girls, this is easy. Girls, DECAS is one that if you don't have, you need to go out, you need to explore it. It's now a tuberose, but without that heavy sort of erotic seduction in it. Tuberose is still present, but it's now done in a much more playful way, I guess. I think that's the best way to do it. For boys, it's super easy because the balance between the tuberose note, which is distinct, the balance between the tuberose note, the citrus component, there's a mandarin, almost an overripe mandarin scent at the start, mixed in with some frankincense, popanax, and some incense components in the base, just creates this beautifully balanced fragrance that has these elements, but never allows these elements to sort of take center stage. Take Narcotic V, the tuberose, center stage. It is a glorious, animalic, sexy tuberose fragrance, whereas here, it's a combination of these different things that are on stage. If you want to know more about this particular fragrance, I did do a full episode on it. I recommend it to everybody. So anybody who's now a semi-pro onwards, I'm always putting DECAS on their radar, but primarily for boys who want to now begin to explore florals in a much more adventurous way, I'd recommend to you this. I mean, rose is always a great floral note, but if you want to do, this is a bit more adventurous. It's a lot of fun, trust me. It's a lot of fun, beautiful fragrance for summer, glorious fragrance for winter, so easy unisex, easy any time of the year. This was my fragrance when I was in Milan, so this is the other reason why I love this fragrance. This brings Milan to life for me also. So this is a glorious fragrance to travel with. Beam boom, I think I covered everything. Dry down, yes, okay. So it's here. And this is the other thing I love about this fragrance. When it opens, another one similar to the P33 Evolution movement, the way it dances. The difference is that this one is now a lot more, has a lot more presence. So it has a lot more volume to it. It doesn't necessarily fill a room like a ERBA Gold, but it definitely has a lot more presence. The opening is an overripe mandarin with a touch of this sweet honeyed sort of tuberose note. That then comes down, those other notes begin to play. When it finally settles, it does have a very sublime, not ambery, no, tuberose, no, it's still citrus, it's still vibrant, it's still summertime, it's still glorious. Even on a winter's day, this fragrance here is absolute, dare I say, pure magic. And it is hidden gem. I'd strongly recommend it to you guys. Boom. Okay, I'm gonna move on. Bada boop, yep. All right. So we're gonna continue to explore all things floral. And now for those, so again, ladies, you have to have, this is a minimum, okay? 400. You need 400 in your life. It's a glorious, incredibly beautiful, honeyed floral fragrance that is just really, really impressive. Now, the good thing about the next three are all in the Join the Club collection, meaning that similar to an Alessandro Galtieri, I'm not gonna tell you the notes, a style. Xerjoff have done the same thing. So we can make assumptions as to what is happening here. Some notes are fairly discernible, but overall, the overall sort of package of it is up to you to, different people smell different things. But overall, I mean, as a I guess if you want to put it into a box, this is a floral fragrance. The Xerjoff website does say that it is a little bit more feminine leaning. Okay, so girls, easy, but I recommend this to you boys. All right. So boys who want to now continue to explore some incredible floral fragrances outside of rose, 400 is exceptional. And I wrote here, on a woman, 400 is glorious and intoxicating. And I know this to be true. Sandra loves wearing this and it is divine on her. On a woman's skin, just incredible. However, on a boy, you are now, and I wrote here, exotic sophistication, and it's true. I love wearing this as my suit, and I'm always, hand on my heart, wherever my heart is, get compliments from women in particular. Boys don't necessarily sort of pick up on the scent, but other women are absolutely always detecting this fragrance and commenting on how good I smell as a sophisticated fragrance. So this is another one where I recommend if you're going to a special event, a wedding, a formal meeting, or something that, you want to command a little bit of presence, but not be over the top. I think sometimes what happens that the boys that I know, so men that I know, do this. If they want to command presence in a large space, they'll put on a really potent, pungent, I don't know, leathery fragrance or deep aromatic or something like that, put on a beautiful floral. Trust me, put on a beautiful floral. You'll turn more heads than anybody else, okay? So whenever I've worn this, this is my going to a meeting and suited up. I want to create some level of presence. 400 is the one. Now I've got it on today. Boom, boom, here. It is extraordinary. The one thing that so on the opening, it instantly grabs me. It has this beautiful honeyed style of flowers, and I get a mixture of tuberose, ylang-ylang, some rose. The rose comes in, comes out, it just sort of whispers in, whispers out. But there's a honey touch to it. I have read in some parts that it has a honey note. I don't detect the honey note, but I do get a very sweet honey-like. So think of an orange blossom. Orange blossom has a honey-like, white floral, there's a touch of citrus, but it has a honey-like quality to it. And I find that 400 has all those beautiful elements to it. For me, you get that very deep, sensuous ylang-ylang. You get that very beautiful tuberose. You do get that whisper of the actual rose itself. That orange blossom is definitely, anyway, all these things, just this beautiful bouquet. It's just a glorious bouquet. What else did I write? Beep, boom, boom, boom. Any time of year. So for me, this is my winter fragrance, okay? And I did try to wear it on a summer day. I nearly died. It was too heady. There is a sweetness in there that is a little bit too much on a summery day for me. On a summer night though, spectacular. All right, so summer night, great presence, great projection. But as a winter, and I am rugged up, so like, you know, shirt and vest and jacket, blah, 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 and 400 is still projecting outwards. So really good, beautiful, potent fragrance that I recommend for everybody, only for semi-pros. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, nearly there. It's gonna be a long Maté talk, but guess what? Hannah's in the back now. Boom, Hannah's back. Nice to have her back, I have to tell you. I think last week, or the last couple of weeks, I've just been, it was a lot of work. All right, last two. These next two, we are now moving deeper towards a veteran. So I know that a lot of people who come into Xerjoff ask me in particular about this next one. I don't recommend it to you, not just yet. I would start with these others, sort of develop your nose, I guess avoid listening to what other, sometimes there's hype around fragrances, and I've got Xerjoff, my good friend who loves all things Orto Parisi. Sometimes he comes up with some suggestions. Hey, I want to smell this, and I'm like, brother, you're not ready for that. And I'm like, Couillon, for instance. I'm like, oh man, it's too strong. Let's move up to a Couillon. Start slowly. So I would do the same here. So I wouldn't jump in straight away into 40 knots, even though it is the most spectacular fragrance and you are going to love it. But I would ease yourself into it. I would go into, before you go here, I would definitely grab like a P33 and begin to experience that. Yes, I would, and I would even say grab a 400. Experience the complexity of 400 and then come across to 40 knots. Now, we don't know the notes. And I love looking at Fragrantica, and there's a lot of conjecture as to what kind of notes there are in there. For me, I do see that this is an aquatic fragrance. That's the category I put it in. I do get a salty vibe, accord from it, but it's not an aquatic fragrance. Sometimes you think aquatic, you think ocean, you think a blue, kind of a scent profile to it. There's no citrus. Most aquatic fragrances has a citrus opening to it. I detect zero citrus in this fragrance. Give me one sec. It's a wild ride. And actually, I think I wrote this in capitals. It's a wild ride. Where this fragrance opens, how it moves, how it evolves, where it lands in the end, where I am right now, can I just say, it's a wild ride, the whole thing. And can I just say, out of all the fragrance I have that I'm wearing, as I keep moving my arms around, it's 40 knots that keeps popping. Now, this was recommended to me by Kevin very, very early on. He said that this is a summer fragrance. And I'm gonna say, yeah, okay, it's summer, but this is not, I say yes, but no. So it's a summer night, not a summer day. For me, there are some level of sweetness in here. There are some spicy elements. There is an ambery touch that in a full summer day, it just For me, it doesn't work. Whereas on a winter's day like today, it pops off my skin. It radiates like a beauty. But again, it's not an aquatic fragrance. So I get cinnamon, and I get a cinnamon fizziness. And I was thinking about this because I wrote this morning. There's got to be ginger in here. I find that ginger has a zing. It does. I find that when I smell ginger in fragrance, and I know that there's ginger in there, I do get like a fizziness from it. There's like a, I don't know, it has more of a buzz to it. So for me, I get, and there it is again, I get like this zingy cinnamon, ambery with a salt touch to it. Other things, I do get woods. The woods really start to pop. What else did I put? Lavender. So I do get this aromatic quality to it. Anyway, massive recommendation. 40 knots, spectacular. Really, really impressive. It's, again, join the club so we don't know the notes, but it's one of those fragrances that works well all year round. I'll be curious to know. So where I said girls 400 is easy for you boys, I would venture into this. Boys tend to love 40 knots. I'd be curious to know if there's any young lady or any women that actually like this particular fragrance. So do you have this in your collection? How does it work for you? I find that most boys like 40 knots, but I'd be curious to know if any women also like it too. All right, let me go on because I gotta bring this baby home. All right, here we go. I'm gonna keep this simple, super easy. I love this fragrance. I'm wearing it today. None other than More Than Words. And if you want to know more about it, I'd recommend you watch the lineup that I did. I've actually spoken about More Than Words in a few different lineups. I think I did it in a Xerjoff lineup. I've done it in a separate one also. Massive recommendation. Now, a lot of people who come into oud, so this is, to break it down really simply, it's a fruity rose oud fragrance. It does settle into a rose oud, but those early fruity notes that are in the fragrance are definitely present and create a whole new texture to this particular fragrance. Let me just smell it. So I've been, mind you, this is the other one that's popping on me as I've been talking to you guys. Oh, the mic is right there, sorry. Can I just say, it is spectacularly gorgeous. So this is my advice. Some people who want to start breaking into oud and start to have oud in their fragrance, the one advice that I would say that I would do different to what I did is, don't grab a fragrance that has the oud sort of washed back. You want the oud to be present. I think I regret the fact that because I was so desperate to begin to love an oud fragrance, that I started to sort of venture in with fragrance houses that have the oud note, or it's listed as one of their notes, but it's not discernible. You can't really go, and so you feel like you've grown up. Unfortunately, it's like playing air guitar, all right? And I'm just rocking on playing air guitar. I feel cool. I mean, like, look at me. I'm just like jamming, baby. Just grab a guitar and strum and realize that, hang on a second, I need to ease my way into this, to learn how to do this properly. So if you want to venture into oud, this is one of the great places. This is a great place to begin. So that fruity touch that it has, it lends itself all the way through the fragrance. On opening, and I'll give you a warning, on opening, the oud does come out a lot more faster out of the gate than in some other oud fragrances. The oud is definitely a lot more present. However, it does sort of dry back a little bit. The fruits then begin to pull forward. You'll get that rose coming through also. And then you see this whole balance begin to shift. It's actually quite spectacular in the way, it's almost like you're throwing all these things up, up in the air. And then slowly, they're all beginning to pop, 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 pop. And then you get this beautiful whole. You get this beautiful, round, seductive fragrance. I love spraying this, so I've two of my granddaughters love the oudy touch of fragrances in the fragrance, and I love spraying this. They actually ask me for this. They don't know the name of it, but they say the blue bottle with the lid. I spray this on them, and they smell divine. And these are young. So I think the oldest is about 5, and then it's 3-year-old. So they run around wearing More Than Words, and the sillage, the scent in the air that this produces is spectacular. My son was borrowing this I've got the library system, so my son was borrowing this. He was getting nothing, he mentioned to me, nothing but endless compliments no matter where he would go. So at work, at church, no matter where he was, people would be like, man, you smell amazing. You can detect the oud, but the oud is not done in that fecal, very sort of barnyard. It's discernible, but it's been, again, beautifully balanced with those fruit notes and the rose and everything else. So if you're new to oud and you want to explore oud, more than words, I promise, is the best place, the right place to start. You won't be playing air guitar. You'll have a guitar in your hand, you'll be strumming and feeling what the actual instrument can do and what oud can actually do. And as I go deeper, I'll share more about some of the beautiful oud fragrances that Xerjoff have, because I really do enjoy them. Bada bing, baby, we're done. 400 minutes of all things Xerjoff. Hope you enjoyed that. I look forward to your comments. This was semi-pro. We'll be doing veteran, and of course there is the new classification, which is Supreme Leader. So I will be doing a Supreme Leader lineup of on all things Xerjoff. Let me know what you think. Anything that you would add to this, look forward to your comments. Again, for those who are interested in joining us in Esxence 2025, make sure you book. We're only going to do 20. That will be the roof, and we won't open up to anymore, so there won't be any extra tickets that we'll sell. 20 will be our max. Thanks, everyone. See you guys all on the next episode.